Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with my Kill Kit for November 2022, and it's Tuesday, so I'm also doing Stash Dive Tuesday, where you try and use up some of the stash you have that's just sitting around. And I have this picture of my best friend and me with my daughter at the gas station called Sheets, and we found that awful entertaining, so that's why we had the picture. I pulled some scraps out, a 6x8 and the 12x12, all from the Fernwood collection. And then for my embellishments, there's a few from Fernwood, and then I have some Sticko Puffies from my travel collection that were in my kit, as well as this Jolie's Boutique that I have had for a very long time. And then I also pulled these from my stash, not out of my kit since it's Stash Dive Tuesday. I'm trying to use up some of these things. So I have this Sticko. These are just flat paper stickers. This is a Kaiser Crafts Collectibles, and I'm thinking I might use this little film strip. And then I also have these Scrap Berries Around the World. And so I thought that I could try and use one or two of the things on there as well, so that I can use some things up. And I have a flare from the Flair Hut that was in my stash that I thought the colors worked pretty well with this. So I have my papers, my embellishments, some extra stash, my flare, and my picture. So let's see how this goes. So I have some scraps that I pulled out of my scrap pile for the Fernwood collection. I'm really wanting to use them up. While doing this, I have 8 layouts other than this one to finish this entire book up, and I'm really excited about that. And so I want to try and use as many scraps as I can, at least the ones that are bigger like this. And when I say bigger like this, I mean that. The majority of what is left in my scraps is branding strips. So I'm trying to use these bigger pieces that I can use for layering like I have right here. And this is pretty much the gist of what's about to happen. Is I'm going to use this in piles like this to make it look like I have more layers than I do. So I have matted my picture on a 4.5 by 6.5, so I trimmed it down to fit about 1/4 of an inch, a little bit thicker of a border than my normal. And then I tack it down, and I trimmed off part of that 6x8 because I didn't want it to be so much on the top. I wanted it to be more of an even amount on the top and the bottom. And then I am just going to use this dark, it's pretty much like a black, but it's from the Fernwood collection, this scrap right here. And I love bringing that in because, you know, we were on the road. And when I think of being on the road, I think of blacktop. So I wanted to bring some black in. Plus there's some black in the background from the Sheets gas station. So I also was bringing in red, black, and yellow from the gas station. And while the red that is at the Sheets... Sorry, you all. I also giggle when people say the word duty. So that's just me. I can't help it. I am quite childish when I want to be. So we were just tickled by this gas station. We saw it all over the place, and we kept thinking we needed to stop. But every time I saw one, it just wasn't a good time, or we were in a hurry, or the weather was bad. So this was our very last one that we saw before we came too far into Kentucky to where we didn't see them anymore. So I can't even remember where this one was. I'll have to look it up and write that on my information, because it'll be on my GPS from my picture when I took the picture. So anyway, so I've just layered up all these papers. I did pull some of that yellow floral off. I did pull some scraps out. That blue polka dot is the back of that 6x8 that I have right there with the little paint swatches is what that looks like to me, like somebody was doing like a paint swatch. And I love that. I picked that paper because it has that reddish color. Now, it's not a bold red like the Are We There Yet or like the Sheets, but it's still like a reddish orange, and it works because the basketball that's sitting on top of, and some of the luggage sitting on top of the car is that same color. So I just made it work and brought some other things in for the red. So I grabbed a couple more scraps from my collection that have that green limey color. The word yet on the Are We There Yet is is that greeny color. So I wanted to try and bring those colors in. So it's a light blue, which I've brought in with the polka dot blue, and that lime green, and then of course the red, which I'm bringing in with a couple of travel puffies from Sticko. And then I also am going to bring in like a darker blue. So, and then of course I have that yellow paper, and those are the colors from the gas station. So I popped the little holes out of one side of this film strip because the other side I'm going to tuck in. And I considered putting this cockeyed, like to tucking it in cockeyed, but decided everything else is up and is straight. So I decided not to do that. Because like the lines of the grid paper in the background are straight, the papers are coming straight, the picture's straight. So I thought it would look weird if it was kind of going off to the side. So I do that, and then I'm going to start adding different things. So I have this little piece of washi that I backed on on white paper because it was going to disappear into the background paper. And it says, take the unexpected path. And while we are on the correct path to come home, we got off at an exit we didn't need to. We didn't even really need gas, but I went ahead and filled up while we were there. And so it was not necessarily the expected path. And then I'm going to bring in some other signs. I did not turn the wrong way on a no turn. Okay, so I just want to point that out. I'm a very good driver. Although my best friend was driving at this point, so there's no telling with her. So I have these Scrapberry Around the World, and I'm going to bring those in. And then I've got some word phrases from the Vicky Boot and Fernwood collection that say new places. One that says laugh that is up there in the top left corner of the picture. It's a little half circle with some gold. And I may, because I didn't do this on camera, I may bring in some more gold because that's the only thing on here. And there's some silver on that car. So I may come in with some of the gold embellishments from the Vicky Booten, or I may come in with my Chroma Mist by Brutus Monroe and splatter some gold just to bring that in to the layout. So right now I am just putting down like a little trickle of some more color to bring in a couple shades of red and like a pink and a peach and then a yellow. And then I've put that all-way road sign up at the top middle so that I have that triangle effect of the red. So I have that there, and then the do not turn, and then I'm going to put that are we there yet right there at the bottom. So that gives me that triangle. And then this exit sign has the lime green and the dark blue. It came from that Scrapberries, and I'm going to bring in another one up at the top to give another triangle from the two stickers from the Scrapberries, as well as that blue paper. And my Flair will help with that because it has that same dark blue color. So I tucked this detour sign in here since we were taking a detour, which brings in that lime green again. So it gives me another triangle of that lime green. And there's a little washi sticker next to that says that. And I just thought that would be fitting. And I'm considering putting a little arrow pointing to the sheets, but we're pointing to the sheets sign. So I feel like that's enough. So I want to put my Flair right here, but there's a gap between that all-way and the detour that's too big for the Flair to cover. So I decided to pull out this other little, the blue acrylic or enamel, whatever you want to call it, from, epoxy. Why? They all start with an E, right? Enamel. Anyway. So I put that underneath the all-way so it doesn't break that space up there and leave me with a weird gap. And then it tucks a little underneath the Flair. And I do put the Flair going up and down because that's the way that the little paint swipes or whatever you want to call it on that background paper are going. I felt like that would be a little less crazy. And it's got the same dark blue in it, and I love that. It has a very similar red to the sheets sign. And then it also has like that orangey color that's in that background paper. The only thing that's a little bit different is that light blue that's in it, but I'm okay with that. There's lots of color on here, so I don't think it's a huge shock to the eye or anything. So here is the close-up. We had a good time being silly at this gas station. I'm sure people, while we were taking this picture, thought we were crazy. I hope you'll go below and check out all of the other people who are doing Stash Dive Tuesday. And tomorrow is the 30th, and it'll be my last layout for the series, I think. And then I'll be coming back hopefully in the next couple of days with a layout share as well as what's left in my kit. So I hope you'll come back for that too. Have a fantastic day and happy scrapping.